Hello, hello, and welcome to the Continuity Report, powered by ohmtown.com. Today is April 14th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 15. We've already been doing this for 15 weeks. It is a weekly show. Here's the rundown for today. Let me do something real quick. Sci-fi original shows, upcoming video game movies, Great British crime shows, Night Manager returns, Joe and Optimus living together, play this while watching Fallout, Apple Sci-Fi Series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds returns, Agatha Series, and Reacher reaches after Season 3. That and more here on the Continuity Report, but everything is powered by ohmtown.com. I have yet to make transitions for the show, and I don't even have the intro still. So let's just get straight on into today's episode. Sound good? Oh,
sounds good.
Let me punch my mic while I'm doing it. Production values, folks. Yeah, I don't like to edit. I like authenticity in our production, so you will... It's very rare that I have to edit something out, and it's usually because I get a DMCA or something like that. And I don't feel like going through the hassle of justifying my existence, so I cut that piece out. Anyway, let's get into the show. The very first article is over in the Continuity Report, where most of these articles that we talk about are going to be cataloged based on their aggregation. So the Sci-Fi Channel's 10 best original shows that are ranked by Screen Rant. The Sci-Fi Channel has dedicated its programming to catering to sci-fi fans, science fiction fans. They used to be called Sci-Fi, SCI-FI. And then they changed their name because you couldn't get that trademarked, apparently.
Right, I guess that was too generic.
Correct. And so they changed it to SYFY, which I think is just siffy and dumb. So I don't know what you call it, the science fiction channel, and brand around science fiction channel. Just do that. It doesn't make any sci-fi, SYFI. Anyway, my soapbox got tall really quick there. Anyway, from the gripping saga of Battlestar Galactica, which chronicles humanity's struggle for survival against the Cylons, to the intricate mysteries and otherworldly adventures of shows like Stargate SG-1 and spin-offs like Eureka, Sci-Fi has consistent spin-offs and its spin-offs to Eureka. They're not parallel.
Okay. I was confused by that.
Yeah, Eureka is definitely not a spin-off of anything Stargate SG-1. That's a weird sentence. Anyway, Sci-Fi has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible in sci-fi television. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, but I still think that it's a goofy channel name. So the article is by Kayla Turner over at ScreenRant.com, and they put together this top 10 list. It says, Being Human introduces a trio of supernatural beings navigating human society in a relatable and engaging angst-ridden drama. Resident Alien merges comedy and sci-fi to deliver a compelling narrative. But the 10, it starts out with Being Human. It's available to stream on Peacock, but it's from Sci-Fi, I guess. But it says here it's Amazon Prime Videos where it is. A werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost share a flat in London. Together, they attempt to blend into normal society and live alongside humans, despite the challenges posed by their own natures, social prejudices, and pressures from others of their own kind.
That sounded like intro to a joke at the beginning.
Yeah, really. A werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost share a flat. That would be...
I'm not sure what the punchline is, but...
yeah, let's see. The vampire says that the werewolf acts like an animal.
Right.
The werewolf tells the vampire to go out and touch grass, and both of them say that they can see right through that ghost.
There you go.
Anyway, and yet the landlord wants his rent. Anyway, it says effectively captured the essence of an angst-ridden teenage drama, so I'm going to bow out of that. The series stands as a commendable entry into the realm of paranormal romance. Yikes. All right. Oh, before I go too far, let me throw the link into the chat and you can follow it. Doink. These will be available over on YouTube. They are right now for yesterday's 4 shows. They haven't been pushed over to the podcast yet, but they will. And today's will probably be available either tonight or tomorrow morning. So number 9 is Sanctuary, where they say what sets Sanctuary apart is its exploration of the diverse nature of these beings. Sanctuary is a standout, focusing on monsters rather than the more common tropes of space operas, space westerns, or superhumans. The narrative revolves around Dr. Helen Magnus and her mission to establish a haven for abnormal and paranormal creatures and individuals. Sanctuary. Dark Matter, that ran from 2015 to 2017.
Not to be confused with the new Apple show, which I think is of the same title.
Well, hold on. We're actually going to talk about that. Article 6, I think it is. So this Dark Matter ran from 2015 to 2017. It says Dark Matter crafts a suspenseful plot that keeps engagement high from start to finish. It all takes place on a spaceship. Yeah, it was an interesting show. I'll give it that. But it lost me as time went on, but I think most things do. The Magicians, if you want to talk about angsty relationship, teen wizardy woo-woo, then The Magicians is really where it's at. It ran from 2015 to 2020. I watched a couple of those episodes in there. But basically, The Magicians follows Quentin Coldwater, a brilliant young man who's given a place at a magical college named Breakbills, where he learns magic alongside his friends Alice, Elliot, Margot, and Penny, and unlocks magical secrets far beyond his wildest imaginings. It's kind of like a more grown-up... It's a college-level Harry Potter.
I was thinking of something like Wednesday, but I guess Wednesday is too dark.
No, it would probably be around Wednesday. Yeah. It's the same. It would be the same thing. Yeah, I would give you that. So number 6 is Resident Alien. Obviously, it's about an alien that comes to Earth. Resident Alien's likable characters and clever humor make the show accessible, while its nuanced exploration of societal norms and prejudice adds depth and complexity. And it's got aliens in it. So,
well, then it qualifies as
sci-fi.
I guess sci-fi. Well, no, as fantasy, right?
Because it has aliens. Yeah.
Right.
What was it?
Wasn't that the test? Like, if it had technology or something, it was
It's
sci-fi, and if it had basically non-humans, it was
then
fantasy.
It's fantasy. Yeah. Oh wow, this is going to be the. Is it a sandwich or is it a taco? Yeah, we can start that fight, sure. SG1, which I thought was really great in the beginning, but then it went really like I don't know. The last 5 years, I think I just got tired of it. But it ran for 10 seasons. I love the idea of all of the tech and world building, but then it just went really crazy. So I don't know. It says the series' success is evident in its ability to inspire spin-offs. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it had other spin-offs, but I don't think they're around. Stargate Atlantis, 2004 to 2009, where again it was just under the ocean, under the sea. It helped launch careers of several industry professionals. Stargate Atlantis offers a fresh perspective, which I didn't really see. Eureka, though, was end-to-end great. There were maybe a few episodes in there that you kind of go, what? But the whole idea...
there were some weird episodes, but...
Yeah. It's a real bummer that Eureka actually died. I think that show could have continued on and on. But I think they ran out of... The writers ran out of stuff to write about. Like hitting their creative limit or something. But I don't know what it was that made it actually end.
It
Um,
seems like, though, they could have kept coming up with storylines, right? Because it was pretty much infinitesimal, right? I mean,
yeah,
on the other hand, how many catastrophes can hit, one town?
exactly. But I mean, with all of those people doing all of that research, and it's fantastical research, and I love the whole
Right.
tech idea of it. AI was already implemented in this, and this is back in
They have
2006
the
to
smart
2012.
home, right?
Yep, yep. In EVs and stuff like that. The thing about this show, though, is it says here Eureka's charm lies in its refusal to take itself too seriously, but towards the end of the show, it was definitely taking itself seriously. So I I couldn't really, and they say too seriously, but they were talking about eliminating characters and all kinds of the other stuff. Yeah, I just kind of got um, burned out on that, the serious aspects of it. What I wanted was like a no-brainer, have fun watching the show kind of a thing.
Right.
The Expanse was terrific from 2015 to 2022. I believe there was a break in there though. I thought maybe, I don't know. So The Expanse is a sci-fi series set in the distant future where humanity is spread out across the solar system, but the alliances between the three most potent government bodies have reached a state of Cold War, which actually ends up in an active hot war. And it says The Expanse's initial run on Sci-Fi laid the foundation for its future success. And yeah, it's kind of like Firefly, in that the viewership really kept The Expanse alive, because it was canceled at one point.
Oh, okay.
And it moved to Amazon. And then finally, Battlestar Galactica, which really changed the entirety of what Battlestar Galactica was from the 70s. The 2004 to 2009 version of it was very human, whereas Battlestar Galactica back then had Cylons that were actually robots. And so this is a cybernetic race called Cylons, and they're more humanoid than they are human. I'm sorry, than robot.
Then
They're like
robot, right.
Terminator.
Do you think that
Yeah.
was to make them relatable to the viewers?
I'm not sure. I really don't know why. Because the original, see, they say the 1978 series by the same title. I really liked that it was a clear separation. There was a human that was involved on the Cylon side, that basically told the Cylons how to think like a human, essentially. Um, and they wanted to become the leader of everything. And I don't know. It was really neat to have kind of like a robot them versus us kind of thing. But they could have highlighted the whole artificial intelligence aspects of it. If they were to bring it back, I would hope that they bring it back in the original imagining, with a them versus us kind of issue. But it seems like nowadays a lot of the story building is centered around the people and their relationships, and it's really overt and in deep relationship complexities and stuff. And I don't
Right, like
remember it.
think of like Star Trek Discovery. I mean, it's
Yeah,
very relationship focused.
yeah. I mean, it's so there's so many shows that are teen angsty and relationship angsty, in teen romance kind of thing, and I'm like, man, I don't remember this being like this in previous iterations of these shows. Um, yeah, like Star Trek the Next Generation, I didn't see it to that level. The original series was devoid of it, at least as far as I remember it, and I've watched every episode multiple times of the original series. I never saw any of that, not until the movies came into existence and whatnot. So I don't know. Um, at some point, I think that society is going to want to shift away from that type of thing, but we'll see. Maybe in another 10 years. Anyway, that's this list over at Screen Rant, titled Sci-Fi's Sci-Fi Channel's 10 Best Original Shows ranked by Screen Rant. Let's keep on going though. This next article is over in Reality Hacker. Let me throw it in the chat. There you go. All upcoming upcoming video game movies, release dates, development details, and rumors. I'm going to go through this really quick. Sam Hill over at Digital Trends put this article together, and they've made a list. Borderlands, which is going to be kind of like Fallout.
Oh, okay.
Essentially. Gearbox Software Borderlands will film with Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart, Jack Black as Claptrap. Oh my god. And so the movie won't follow the events of the game exactly. It's sort of like Fallout, doesn't follow it exactly. There's a lot of callback into the game. If they do this with Borderlands, then it will be a hit, like they did with
Do you
Fallout.
think it'll be comedic? I mean, look at the cast.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. Yeah. Just to be in line with the game. So is returning to Pandora to find the missing daughter of Atlas, referred to as the universe's most powerful SOB. Obviously, she'll need old friends and new allies while exploring the dangerous deserts on Pandora. And it's not that Pandora. And so then there's Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That's coming in December 2024. Minecraft the movie in 2025. Super Mario Brothers movie sequel in April of 26. And then there's a bunch that are in development. BioShock, Days Gone, Dead by Daylight, Death Stranding. This will be amazing. I mean, other than the fact that Death Stranding is like a walking simulation, where you take a package from here and walk it to over there, and it takes forever, and you might run into stuff on the way. But there's a really neat story tied to this.
Maybe the movie will spend less time on the walking and more time on the things
story.
that occur.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, there's just so many in this list that if they do come out.
Slime Rancher. Do you think that'll be timed with Slime Rancher 2?
Slime Rancher 2 is out.
Oh, I didn't think it had released yet. Sorry.
Yeah. So probably Slime Rancher the musical. I don't know how they're going to do Sifu, but that's okay. Legend
Pac-Man.
of Zelda. Pac-Man. I think there is isn't there? No, there's a video game one that's like that has Pac-Man in it. A bunch of others in this are going to be amazing. Dredge will be a lot of fun to watch. That would be great. BioShock will be huge because it'll be exactly like Fallout in scope. So that's a huge game. So yeah, there you go, folks. All the
I wonder if that's going to be the next trend in movies, right? We've seen a fair number of these recently.
Yeah, as long as they can be faithful to the character of the game, they'll be a winner in every regard. But the moment they deviate, the moment that they don't acknowledge certain fan focused
communities, or
yeah, I mean, if they don't pay any fan service, then it's gonna fail, right? If they deny certain acknowledgments, I think that was the reason why like the all-female cast for Ghostbusters ultimately failed, is because for whatever reason it didn't get buy-in by the very people that like they should have acknowledged the original Ghostbusters, not just some isolated
have some Easter
event
eggs
or
something.
Yeah, put more into it. Yeah. Okay, but let's keep going. I won't be able to spend too long on anything. If I start soapboxing, you'll have to, push me off. The next article is over in Reality Hacker: 3 Great British TV Crime Shows You Need to Watch in April 2024. One of the things that I've learned, particularly during the pandemic, was that I really liked British TV crime shows. And this article here made me go, you know what? I haven't watched any in probably the last 6 months, 8 months. So the article is over at Digital Trends. Jason Struss is the author of this, and it's again titled 3 Great British TV Crime Shows You Need to Watch in April 2024. And they are Case Histories that ran from 2011 to 2013, Tin Star that ran from 2017 to 2020, and Detective Forced which is going right now, apparently. And again, there's stuff over here that Digital Trends goes into, but I'm not going to go through all of these things. One of the best of the last decade is Case Histories, which adapts several novels by Kate Atkinson that feature protagonist Jackson Brody, as played by Jason Isaacs. Brody doesn't stray too far from the male detective stereotype. He's tough but fair, gruff but lovable, and so forth. Over 2 seasons, Case Histories adapted 6 of Atkinson's novels. All are good, but the best of them is One Good Turn, season 1's 3rd and 4th episodes. But this ran from 2011 to 2013, so...
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
So it might be interesting. I won't go and ruin anything else because they talk about the actual thing. It's streaming right now on Amazon Prime Video. Then there's Tin Star. That ran for 3 years as well. It's on Amazon Prime as well. It says Roth's police detective isn't your usual crime show protagonist due to the simple fact that he's also an antagonist. Similar to the 2005 film A History of Violence, Tin Star tells a story of a reformed man with a violent past and how, when his prior unforgivable actions catch up to him, he has to question his newfound ethics and maybe cross ethical lines in order to protect his family. So that one's an interesting one. And then there's Detective Forst. Victor Forst. Boris Cizik. I think. Has a lot of problems. His personal life is a mess. He hates his boss, and he isn't particularly liked by many of his peers. But perhaps the biggest problem he has is to solve figuring out who is behind a series of murders at a posh Polish resort. So I don't know how long this will run, but it's streaming on Netflix.
No, is that still current? Oh, yeah. Right, it's 2024.
2024.
I mean, all these look like they might be interesting to check out. I was going to say others in the same genre would be Vera, London Kills, Line of Duty. I mean, there's multiples, but British crime dramas are definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. They're, character-wise, I'd say that they are vastly different than American crime dramas. So, crime shows, I should say. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report as well. Tom Hiddleston's The Night Manager, returning for 2 more seasons.
Okay, this is shocking because this was quite a while ago, wasn't it?
I thought that this was initially towards the end of
2016.
Oh, wait, really? 2016?
Yeah, this was actually submitted because it was such a long lag. Like, I didn't even know it was up for renewal.
Interesting.
Because it had taken so long. Like, it seemed like one of those that just wasn't going to go any further.
Interesting. Okay, so more than a year since it was announced that Amazon, MGM Studios, and BBC were developing another season of The Night Manager, Deadline brings the word that Tom Hiddleston's led spy thriller has finally received an official 2-season order. Production on The Night Manager Season 2 is expected to begin sometime this year. So the article is over at comingsoon.net. It's written by Maggie Della Paz. And I thought that we've watched this, but I don't remember.
We may not have watched it in 2016. We may have watched it at a later time.
Gotcha. So Amazon boss Vernon Sanders said in a statement that they're elated to bring additional seasons of The Night Manager to their Prime Video customers. The combination of terrific source material, the wonderful team at the Ink Factory, a great writer in David Farr, an award-winning director in Georgie Banks Davies, as well as the talented cast, truly make the series a full package. And I remember us talking about the Ink Factory because of The Night Manager.
Right. Do you know that Le Carré is the author of The Night Manager source material?
No, I didn't know that. But
which is, I think, part of why this is so good.
Maybe
it's right there.
Yeah, maybe that's why I think it was brought up when we talked about it. And I've blanked this out. So who's involved in the next seasons of The Night Manager? It really doesn't matter, folks. The source material is John Le Carre, and it's going to be spectacular. We actually liked The Night Manager, but I thought that it had been like killed off. I'm not sure why though.
I think it seemed like it had been because there was just such a long lag. Now, of course, part of that time was during the pandemic, writer strike, etc. But you don't normally see new seasons taking almost a decade to come out.
Yeah, and it's gonna because it's not gonna be this year, I'm sure. They don't
Well,
say
and of
exactly.
course, if they do this well, they might have like a whole new storyline for the next season, like in a different location or something. So it'll be kind of like a standalone for that whole season.
Yeah, maybe Le Carre has more content that's not been big consultant. See, but if they diverge too far from the novelization, I'm
That's
sorry.
true.
You can't make up the quality of writing that Le Carre provides, because every time they provide content for their character, it's robust. So we'll see what happens. We'll be watching this, that's for sure. Okay, let's keep going though. The next article is over in Temporology for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'll have to look at the aggregator.
Is it like they have to go in the Wayback Machine to get back to G.I. Joe and the original Transformers?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe that was the reason. I don't know why, but reactormag.com is the source, Reactor Magazine. It's a science fiction fantasy aggregation kind of a website publisher. I think they do all kinds of stuff, anything sci-fi fantasy. Well, this article is titled G.I. Joe and Transformers Living Together, maybe in new crossover movie. The deck statement says a vital, nay, necessary film, we're sure. Vanessa Armstrong is the author. Has big old Bumblebee on it. And so it says, while the film is now official, Paramount didn't share any news about who'd be directing it, though the idea apparently came from Rise of the Beast director Stephen Caple Jr. And it will be executive produced by none other than Steven Spielberg. So they say at CinemaCon today, Paramount Pictures made it official via Deadline, which is another website, deadline.com. We're getting a blockbuster at some point in the future that will include aliens who can turn into cars and or mecha beasts and G.I. Joe soldiers doing whatever G.I. Joe soldiers do. All right. That's it.
And apparently there was a tease at the end of Rise of the Beasts.
Really? Well, I didn't watch Rise of the Beasts. Yeah, the first time G.I. Joe and Transformers shared a page was in 1987's aptly named G.I. Joe and the Transformers. The 4-issue miniseries saw the Autobots and G.I. Joes, aka the good guys, face off against the Decepticons and Cobra, aka the bad guys. Did you know that there's a Marine Corps version of G.I. Joe?
No.
Mac Marine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there's not a show for them.
No. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Mac of the Marines, I think it was, or no, that's something different. Yeah, it was supposed to be. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it. Yeah, I'd been told about it, but I don't think I don't recall ever actually seeing it. But there was supposed to be a Marine version of G.I. Joe. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting. They're bringing something old back. Is it going to be as great? I don't know. Because if it's going to be
Although
live action,
Spielberg's behind it, you know.
Yeah, if it's going to be live action, you have two popular properties going to be sharing the screen. Some are going to be taking away more from the others. When a transformer is on screen, it's larger than life. It's hard to really be a commanding presence when you've got a
Right. And
60-foot robot.
if you're a fan of one, are you a fan of the other? I didn't realize they had teamed up. I assume that's in a comic
Yeah.
book setting.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember any of the cartoons, G.I. Joes, or Transformers being tied together. But again, it's been a long time. Huh. All right, let's keep going though. The next article is over on Warcrafters. The best way to watch Fallout TV show, the Fallout TV show, is to play this building and management sim alongside it. Let me throw this into. The article says, so the author over at PC Gamer says that they've been enjoying watching Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul explore the wasteland and slowly uncover the truth behind this lawless land. The only problem is that they can't help but feel a bit left out. We can't control the characters in the TV show like we can in the game, so obviously this loss of agency leaves something to be desired. And while the show does use three archetypal main characters to try and make up for the lack of control, it's not just the same as exploring the wasteland for yourself. Well, then you can download the games, for crying out loud. But
Well, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but I don't. They're not saying.
Well, no, they're not.
Yeah, they're not saying the Fallout
Correct.
2, 3, 4 VR version of 4, Fallout 76, Las Vegas. No, they're talking about the last one on the list that you can get over at Steam. But anyway, Ellie Gould is the author over at PCGamer.com that put the article together. And where is it?
Fallout Shelter?
Yeah, so right there. So Fallout Shelter was released in 2015, but in a way, they feel like it's always been with them. In fact, Fallout Shelter actually ran into some problems with its release and then was still allowed to be released. There was some conflict with the IP, if I remember correctly. And while it may not be a fantasy RPG like the rest of the Fallout games, although it is and it isn't, it provides the control that author craves. This free-to-play building and management simulation game has been something that they've consistently dropped in and out of since it was first downloaded 9 years ago, and I remember downloading this. It follows the same life cycle that Minecraft does, in that every so often they remember it exists and then they play it for a couple of weeks. So this is just one little slice of one little room that you would be manipulating in this game. It's kind of like a tower building game. But let me see if they actually show me. It looks like you can
pick the vault, and this person picked Vault 33.
Yeah. So they say they began their new Fallout Shelter Vault 33 3 days ago when they started watching the TV show. Since then, they've amassed 30 dwellers, unlocked 14 of 24 rooms, and am slowly collecting all the pets available. Although so far they only have a palace cat, or Pius, I think it's called a Pius cat, and a German pointer. You can also grab a Vault 33 jumpsuit for one of your dwellers to wear right now. Yeah, there's some extra stuff that you can get while the show is on. And then they say it's no battle for Boston Airport, but fighting your way through various derelict rooms and taking on raiders and rad roaches and mole rats isn't easy. You've nearly lost my favorite, or they've nearly lost their favorite exploring dweller, Philip Frost, a few times now, and if it weren't for their piles of stim packs, he'd probably already be dead. But it's always worth it, just for the bits of junk or new weapons that you bring back from adventures.
I mean, I wonder if you can, if you really time it well, could you go to the same areas that are shown in the show, in the game?
I don't believe so. I'll have to take a look at the game. I remember playing it, but I don't remember the fidelity of it because I didn't play it long enough, I don't think. Because it's more, if I recall correctly, it's more of, you know those tower games where you keep on adding rooms and your building gets bigger or wider or whatever, and you decide what each of the rooms functions as. That's kind of how this works, except that it's within a vault. And I didn't realize that the vaults were as massive as they are, because the elevator had floor after floor of vaults. And 32 and 33 were at that one, whatever level they were
Right.
at. But they didn't have verticals. When you were in your vault, you were in that horizontal layer. And then you got on the elevator and went up to the top.
Right, which it didn't seem like you ever got on that.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know. I'll take a look at the game and see if it's worth talking about later. Let's keep going though. We've got a few more articles to go through. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Let me throw this right here. Doink. Apple's latest sci-fi series is the trippy dark matter. Ta-da! See?
Which is not related to the sci-fi show of the same name.
Right. Apple is continuing its run of streaming sci-fi with the upcoming Dark Matter, a thriller about a man who kidnaps himself. The first trailer looks appropriately trippy and follows a physicist played by Joel Edgerton, who is abducted into an alternate version of his life. The show involves him trying to get home while navigating his new multiversal reality, which is powered by a big black box that he invented. It's the 1 minute time machine.
I don't know how he kidnapped himself. Oh, yes.
If you've not looked that up over on YouTube, just do a search for 1 minute time machine. It's pretty entertaining. Anyway, but it's not for kids. The 9-episode long show is based on the novel by the same name by Blake Crouch and also stars Jennifer Connelly, Alice Braga, Jimmy Simpson, Deo Okonie, and some other people, but it got chopped by the aggregator. Anyway, Andrew Webster over at TheVerge.com put this article together, and the deck statement says the alternate reality series starts streaming on Apple TV Plus on May 8th, and you can watch the first trailer now. Dun, dun. There you go.
They seem to be really coming out with a lot of sci-fi material.
Yeah, they know their audience. Dark Matter joins a growing list of sci-fi on Apple TV Plus, including recent series like Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, Constellation, Foundation, Invasion. William Gibson's Neuromancer is right around the corner, and Martha Wells' The Murderbot Diaries, which I haven't actually seen anything about yet, is also coming. But Neuromancer, woo!
Right. I don't know if we have a release date for that yet.
I don't recall. No, I don't think so, but that's okay. There you go, folks. Latest addition to Apple TV Plus is Dark Matter. Let's keep going. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has been renewed for a 4th season. Season 3 of Paramount Plus' Star Trek Strange New Worlds is still in production, but the streamer has already decided to renew the series. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for Star Trek Lower Decks, which is coming to an end. So you get some good and bad there. I really think that Lower Decks should have longer legs, but I guess maybe something major is happening within that, the cast and the writers and everything else associated with it, because Star Trek Lower Decks has the kind of atmosphere that you would have in Family Guy, except it centers around Star Trek. So you have the possibility of just continuing this almost Seinfeld-esque kind of story writing where it's about nothing, but it's still entertaining and still moves the needle.
And even if you're not into animated shows, you might enjoy it. It seems like it has pretty broad appeal.
Yeah. Particularly if you're into sci-fi. So Paramount Plus announced today that Star Trek Strange New Worlds will be back for a 4th season following the premiere of its 3rd sometime in 2025. So that'll still be around a year after Lower Decks. So what are they going to end up doing? Because haven't we heard that Star Trek Strange New Worlds is ending after the fourth season? I thought it was only going to
I
be
don't
back
know.
for
I know
two.
we heard that Star Trek Discovery was ending after this fifth season that's
Yeah.
just out now. Um, I don't remember if we heard an end for Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. In a statement about Strange New Worlds renewal, executive producer Alex Kurtzman and showrunners Akiva Goldsman, and we'll switch over to the actual source. Charles Pulliam Moore is the author of this, and the deck statement says, while Paramount has ordered another season of Star Trek Discovery, the Lower Deck animated spinoff has been canceled, which it's a pisser. So the showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Meyer said that they were thrilled about being able to continue telling new stories about the crew of the Enterprise. Dun dun dun. Let's keep going. This next article is over in Warcrafters. Marvel's Agatha series already feels like an afterthought. I certainly feel that way. I don't know. There's something wrong about this. I know that people were ecstatic about Agatha, and then it just seemed to die off. I think it might have been the strike that really.
I think so. Like the timing was way off.
So it says here, it's hard to recall the first time Kevin Feige, I think it's Feige. How do they pronounce it? Is it Feige or?
I think so. Let's go with that.
Um,
Phage, maybe.
no, I know that it got the E at the end of it, but anyway, stood in front of a roaring crowd. I've heard it many times, and my brain is going off. Anyway, stood in front of a roaring crowd to debut Marvel's 10-year plan. Fans were stunned as they witnessed the first of many studios trotting out the cinematic universe concept. That premise outlived its excitement after around 10 years. Now, as Marvel continues calling its shots, some promised future outings fall upon deaf ears. Marvel can see which projects attract attention, leading them to view things like Agatha with a noticeable, we have to, if we have to, kind of attitude, like, meh. And I think that's what happened with Agatha. Because it spun out of another show and may have been planned.
WandaVision?
Yep. So it spun out of WandaVision, where everything red turned purple, and it was Agatha. Joshua Christian McCoy over at Game Rant put the article together, and the deck statement says this long-planned Disney Plus series will depict a minor villain from a show that came out 3 years ago, but does anyone still care about Agatha?
Well, is this part of the Marvel issue, or do you think this is specific to Agatha?
No, I think it's Marvel in general. I think the MCU has basically started approaching the
Like saturation?
cold universal death. You know what I'm saying? Like a universe, all the universe will, slowly chill and freeze in place and be done. I think that's kind of what the MCU is trending towards. So the various Disney Plus Marvel series bear the brunt of fan complaints. They added dozens of hours to the MCU, often resolving critical plot points and setting the stakes for future outings in shows people don't want to watch. Previous Marvel shows like The Defenders universe and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. existed in subtle corners that fans were free to enjoy or ignore. In addition, the shows tend to hold the worst moments of MCU. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was great, but then it started getting really kind of off the wall, and I stopped paying attention to it. Defenders of the
Yeah, I
Universe
thought it
thing.
was really good for a while.
Yeah. So it says Marvel's Agatha will hit Disney Plus later this year. But I just don't know if anybody's going to really buy into it. The words House of Harkness, Coven of Chaos, Darkhold Diaries previously adorned the show's branding. This bizarrely unfocused presentation rarely helps a show. Agatha Harkness is a relatively minor Marvel villain who would rarely require a full series to explore, especially when more notable figures like Ultron suffered such poor showings. Yeah, but there's
Well,
nothing
this
you
is
can...
interesting. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't know.
I mean, I think this is interesting because I think that's been part of Marvel's problem in that they're trying to focus on characters that the fans don't necessarily care about or have any connection to.
Yeah, so what was really interesting about Wanda is that theoretically they are the most powerful superhero anti-villain kind of, they're not necessarily a hero, but they're not necessarily a villain
Right.
either. So they're an anti-hero. And people are sitting there going Deadpool and Wolverine, although Deadpool, I think people may suffer from burnout of Deadpool really fast. I don't know. But what I do know is Agatha Harkness was introduced, and people loved the idea of Agatha, a storyline about Agatha Harkness. But if there isn't enough material, I guess you're up a creek. You're done for before it gets started. I can't
Right.
believe that WandaVision it says 3 years ago, because it feels like it's been longer than that.
Oh yeah, it does.
And Ultron basically has been wholly abandoned. So I don't even see where their reference to Ultron earlier really has any bearing anymore, because they're not going to be able to bring Ultron back, not that I know of. And then Loki is now stuck they're talking about various characters in this article. And then they're talking about Loki, and Loki is now basically managing time. Yeah, I don't know. I just see what I see from Marvel and the MCU is a cacophony of characters, and everything is getting 10% instead of one thing getting 100%. And I don't know if there's enough world building around Agatha to support building this character up, because it takes a long time in the comics or the graphic novels, to really give it the respect it really deserves. And they kind of hint at Agatha needs more respect. It needs a better story than what they're giving them, they believe. But what do we hear right now about MCU? What is there in the MCU? What have we heard in the last 2 years for MCU? I don't know if
Well, I
anything
mean,
stands out, right?
no, I don't think it does. Think they've had some poor showings, and I think the general MCU news has not been favorable.
Right.
Like there's lack of interest when they announce new shows, etc.
And just outright burnout. Yeah, people just aren't really interested in Marvel anymore. So we'll see what happens, and we'll definitely be talking about it at least next week. But for now, let's move on to the next and last article for today. Amazon's Reacher plans for season 3, or after season 3, will make the special investigators even more important. My only concern with this is what the special investigator, unless they do a time travel type of thing, some of the special investigators have been eliminated.
That's true. And plus, they seem to be a pretty big focus of season 2, so that would surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, so the article's title is Amazon's Reacher plans after season 3 will make the special investigators even more important. So the future of Reacher is looking bright, with Amazon's comments opening the door for the 110th Special Investigators Unit to become a vital part of Reacher's future once season 3 is done. The special investigators were vital to the survival of Alan Richson's character in Reacher season 2, like the AI just said. Reacher's shared history with their former military unit gives one of the most revealing insights into his character, so their return to the show would be a welcome one. But he told them to go
Yeah,
away.
he did, and I don't remember how many are remaining, but I don't think it's a high number.
Yeah, I think there's only like 3, maybe 2. Daniel Bibby over at Screen Rant Amazon.com put the article together. And they go into greater detail. Lee Child's Jack Reacher books are the source material for the Reacher series. I think there's like 13 books in the series. They have been taken already out of order for the show, so I guess they could bounce around, kind of like this happened 2 years ago, but they would have to retcon the timeline because in season 2 they say, hey, we haven't heard from you in X amount
Oh,
of
right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't reference any previous material other than their active duty period. So what happened, in those 2 other books between 1 and 3, or how I can't remember if it was like 1 introduced Reacher and then they jumped to like book 7 or something like that.
Right.
So the long-term plans are the 110th have plenty of time to appear in Reacher again. Malcolm Goodwin's cameo as Oscar Finley in Reacher Season 2 strays from the source material in that Finley isn't in the book on which Season 2 is based. Amazon's flexibility means it's much more likely that some or all of the members of the Special Investigators Unit will appear outside Reacher Season 2. But how many of them are actually alive?
I don't know.
Yeah. So the 3rd installment of the Amazon TV show is based on Lee Child's Persuader, a book in which Neely does not appear. So if Neely can cross over between stories, there's no reason that O'Donnell and Dixon can't also join forces with their former commanding officer in Reacher Season 4 and beyond. So those are the 3: Neely, O'Donnell, and Dixon. Those are the 3 that survived out of the
Okay.
7 or something like that. Yeah. So,
And I was just trying to look up, but I can't get a good listing of which order, etc. the books were in.
so there's 8 total. Yeah,
In the unit.
yeah. Not including Reacher. So he was the commander. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a blast. I mean, they all do. Every episode I've liked. It's the source material again. The stories are fun reads. They're compelling. You really know nothing about Reacher other than he's got this kind of like a 10 Commandments kind of a thing. What Reacher's Rules is what it's called. Which you can
Exactly.
actually.
I didn't realize those are still being published though, because there's one coming out in late 2024.
Yeah, there's another one. As my understanding is that they're still being produced. Yeah, there was a list. I don't know if they have that list here on Screen Rant.
No, but there's going to be 29 as of the newest one coming out.
Good God, it's so prolific. I mean, it's like a King series. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to really like it. Malcolm Goodwin's cameo as Oscar Finley in Reacher Season 2 strays from the source material, though, is one of those things that make me go, really don't like it. But I guess if Lee Child or whoever is assigned to make sure they don't stray too far.
Right. I think they're trying to keep the care. I think season 1, I think there was appreciation for the non-military unit characters, and so I think they're trying to have them pop up periodically so they can come back into the story at some point. The other person that might come back is like Roscoe.
Yeah.
We didn't see Roscoe in season 2 at all.
Right. So here's an interesting thing in this article. They say of the current 28, only 4 have been adapted for the screen. One Shot and Never Go Back were adapted to Tom Cruise's divisive Jack Reacher series, which, I don't know, special effects alone make it fun to watch, but...
Oh, exactly.
And then Killing Floor and Bad Luck and Trouble have been used to create Reacher seasons 1 and 2, respectively. So going forward, there's no shortage of books by Lee Child to adapt for Amazon's TV show. So yeah, again, as long as it makes economic sense and they don't stray too far from the source material, You got to treat it kind of like a playlist from Apple Music. When you look at the musician and it lists all of their music, and it has like a number one on the list is actually the most played. So look at the list and you start picking those books. And then when it stops making economic sense, you have to stop.
I agree, but I mean, even if they could do, say, half of the books, think how many seasons that would give the viewers,
Oh yeah.
which would be wonderful because it seems like we get, not only do we get short episode seasons, like the number of episodes, we also seem to get few seasons per show.
Right. Yeah. It seems to always stop at 5 or less. 3 to 5 is what the standard seems to be now. And within those 3 to 5, it's 8 to 10 episodes and the season's done. I don't know about you, but they should be paid enough to have an annual wage, and so they have consistent work and they can pump out consistent material, as opposed to how I feel like it is, which is sporadic at best, and not everybody is making bank. So I don't know. I think that the days are gone where you can expect to have long-term employment within some particular distribution house or writer's room, or even Amazon. You're basically a gig worker no matter what. Even though you've been working there for 10 years, you're just a gig worker. And hopefully you survive another season. Yeah. So I really like Reacher, so I hope that everybody watches it, and we'll come back and talk here on the continuity report about it. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so everybody pile back into the party bus and we'll race down Main Street. And we can always hit that continuity report sign and it'll refresh and let us know if we got any additional stories. Yeah. Wow,
When I saw
824's...
Madison Square Garden, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
When I saw Madison Square Garden, I was thinking of that other article about the attorney and the Girl Scout troop.
There's no brownies going to be allowed into the Madison Square Garden event because facial recognition might pin them to a lawsuit that they're not even part of, but because they're associated by blood to the attorney that wasn't even associated to the lawsuit. Anyway, A24's best 35 movies ranked from Moonlight to Uncut Gems. This one might be pretty good to talk about the next time. So anyway, that's it for today. I am Mayor Watt, and all around us is the sentient AI that's always watching.
Good evening, hometown citizens. We will see you back here shortly for 2 more episodes.
Yep. Got 2 more shows, so stick around. See you in a little bit.